Life-threatening weather impacting more than 8 million. The flash flooding hitting parts of Florida tonight. Officials warn of the dangerous and potentially life-threatening situation as more rain comes down in already flooded areas. We have a report from the ground. Plus,
raise your hands if you're a Zionist!
The disturbing moment on the New York City subway. Pro-Palestinian protesters asking Zionists to raise their hands and then get off the train. Others defacing the Brooklyn Museum director's home with blood-red paint. The mayor speaks out to condemn it. And
these two representatives and FEMA, they seem to put the fear of God in us, that if you don't take this property, you're going to be kicked out most likely, and you'll be on your own.
It was a program meant to help house those impacted by the deadly wildfires on Maui. But 10 months after those fires ravaged the island, we report on the number of residents still in need of a home despite the existence of that program. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the disturbing moments when two Americans are believed to have been electrocuted in a hot tub at a Mexico resort. One is dead, the other injured, what we're now learning. Plus, the Attorney General of the United States held in contempt of Congress. Why and what happens next? And something we haven't seen in 16 years, Russian warships steaming into Havana Bay, including a nuclear-powered submarine. The U.S. is now tracking this with a show of force. But we begin with that life-threatening flood threat in Florida, up to a foot of rain in some places in just the last few days. Take a look at the treacherous drive on I-95 near Miami. Visibility there near zero. The flash flooding forced part of it to close down entirely near the Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood Airport. And tonight, Sarasota is underwater after 4 inches of rain fell in an hour. The system has also brought powerful winds toppling trees north of West Palm Beach. And all this rain and wind delayed or canceled roughly 1,000 flights at airports across southern Florida. Is there any end in sight? Victor Akendo leads us off tonight from Florida.
Tonight, sheets of torrential rain, flooding roads, stranding vehicles, inundating the Sunshine State. A flash flood emergency north of Miami. The National Weather Service warning of life-threatening conditions, 4 to 6 inches of rain in an hour in spots.
It's all just lining up like train on a tracks, going over the same areas over and over again.
Part of Interstate 95, that major north-south artery, shut down due to flooding. Crews using vacuum trucks, racing to clear debris from storm drains across the area. Driving simply treacherous.
I could not see behind me or in front of me. So we need to drive very slow.
Air travel snarled. More than 1,000 flights delayed or canceled entirely at South Florida airports. The system fueled by tropical moisture, even spawning a tornado warning in Martin County. High winds taking out huge trees. It's been pouring all over the state for days. This fire truck barely making it down the street in Sarasota after nearly 8 inches fell there, nearly 4 coming in just 1 hour. Experts say our changing climate is causing rainfall events like these to become more frequent and more intense.
Same areas just keep getting pounded. Victor Akendo joins us now. And Victor, it seems like this threat is just going to continue.
Lindsay, we're near downtown Miami where the water just keeps on rising. In this spot, it's almost up to my knees, but it only gets worse further down the street. You see all those cars, they're flooded, that school bus as well. And as you just said, this is not over yet. All of South Florida is under a flood watch through at least tomorrow. Up to 10 inches of additional rain possible through Saturday. And we're also tracking the heat that's building in the east. Mid to upper 90s from the southeast to the mid-Atlantic by Friday. Now, just north of us in Fort Lauderdale, they have declared a state of emergency. Lindsay, when all is said and done here, some areas could see up to 20 inches of rain. Lindsay?
Wow. Oh, just phenomenal. All right, Victor Akendo, our thanks to you. 2 American tourists were electrocuted while in a jacuzzi at a resort in Mexico. Despite the desperate attempt to save them, one has died, the other injured. ABC's Matt Gutman has more.
Tonight, this dramatic video showing the moments 2 Americans are believed to have been electrocuted in a hot tub at a Mexico resort. Bystanders screaming for help as one person is seen pulled to safety. Amidst the chaos on that pool deck, you can see someone else administering CPR. The Sonora Attorney General says it's investigating the incident, stating 43-year-old Jorge was killed and 35-year-old Lizette injured. As per policy, they used only the victims' first names. Sources telling ABC News they were a couple from El Paso, Texas. A tragic incident unfolding Tuesday evening at the Sonoran Sea Resort near Puerto Peñasco. The Attorney General adding that forensic analysis will be conducted to determine the origin of the electrical failure.
Obviously important to figure out how this happened. Matt Gutman joins us now. Matt, curious, has the resort commented at all?
No, Lindsay, we haven't heard anything from the resort. We've been reaching out to them all day. We've also spoken to experts, and the bottom line is if someone is swimming in a pool or a hot tub and they feel any sort of electrical current, they're supposed to get out immediately, but try to do so without touching any of the metal fixtures like those metal ladders. Lindsay.
Such a scary story for us all. All right, Matt Gutman, our thanks to you. Late today, House Republicans voted to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. I want to bring in Jay O'Brien for more. So, Jay, walk us through what happened today and now the response.
Well, remember, this was House Republicans' attempt to try to compel the Attorney General, or at least provide some kind of consequences for his decision not to turn over the audio recording of the interview that President Biden did with Special Counsel Robert Hur, who was investigating the president's handling of classified documents. The White House said they weren't going to turn that over because it could discourage people from participating in future investigations and because they accused Republicans of potentially wanting to cut that up and use it for political purposes. So they hold Garland in contempt of Congress by essentially one vote. They could have only lost one more vote if every Republican was showing up and voting, because that's the calculus. They did lose one moderate Republican, David Joyce of Ohio. Nonetheless, now what happens is that this gets referred to the Department of Justice. And it's up to the Department of Justice, ultimately, if they want to prosecute Garland for this contempt of Congress referral. That is extremely unlikely. Merrick Garland runs the Department of Justice. So the question facing House Republicans now is, what do they do if the DOJ declines to prosecute? I asked House Speaker Mike Johnson that exact question, Lindsay. He just said that they will, quote, have to see what transpires there at the Department of Justice. But certainly House Republicans have a number of options available to them. They could sue, they could try to do something else. But this is a big step forward, holding the sitting Attorney General in contempt of Congress, Lindsay.
And another unprecedented move there. Jay O'Brien, our thanks to you. Tonight, a major escalation on Israel's northern border. The Iranian-backed Hezbollah militia launched more than 200 rockets from Lebanon in a matter of hours. And in New York City, police attempting to quell the anti-Semitic scene at a downtown subway station. But first to Israel. Tom Suvi Burridge is there tonight.
Tonight, a major escalation on Israel's northern border. Iran-backed Hezbollah militants launching the biggest barrage of rockets since the war in Gaza began. More than 200 rockets fired in a matter of hours. The IDF saying most intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome. Hezbollah retaliating after an Israeli airstrike killed one of its top commanders in southern Lebanon. We're just back from Israel's border with Lebanon, just beyond the hills there, and you can see right across the landscape here, smoke caused by fires when that massive barrage of rockets came in.
Why are they shooting rockets at us?
We met Meron Barakat in Kibbutz Amiad, just miles from Israel's border with Lebanon.
And what, you could just hear the rockets coming in here?
Oh, you feel it. I mean, the whole house shakes.
And with tension simmering, Secretary of State Antony Blinken tonight questioning whether Hamas is negotiating in good faith after it requested numerous changes to the US-backed Gaza ceasefire proposal.
Some of the changes are workable, some are not. It's time for the haggling to stop and the ceasefire to start.
For many, this deal is long overdue. Tom Suvi Burridge joins us now from Tel Aviv. Tom, what are we learning tonight about the latest demands from Hamas?
Yeah, Lindsay, a US official telling ABC News Hamas is demanding the timeline for Israeli forces to completely withdraw from Gaza be sharply moved up. Now, that's a change from what Hamas agreed to just last month, and it's a virtual non-starter for Israel. Lindsay?
Tom Suvi Burridge reporting in from Tel Aviv. Thanks so much, Tom. Here in New York, police are investigating protests and provocations calling for violence against Israel. Authorities are describing a chilling anti-Semitic scene on the New York City subway today. Protesters asking, quote, Zionists to raise their hands and get off the train. Authorities say other protesters defaced the home of a museum director who was Jewish. And now the city's mayor has a warning about the rising hate. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, this video shows a frightening moment on a New York City subway car when protesters demanded riders raise their hands if they're Zionists.
Raise your hands if you're a Zionist! Raise your hands if you're a Zionist! This is your chance to get out! This is your chance to get out! Okay, no Zionists, we're good.
The train held at Union Square for a police inspection. Officers in riot gear seen on the crowded platform. Protesters clashing with police. They had just come from a rally where the flags of terror groups Hamas and Hezbollah were waved. Another saying, "Long live October 7th." Protesters breaking through barriers, setting off smoke bombs and flares outside an exhibit remembering the victims of the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. The Monday incident, part of an escalating series of provocations that go beyond protest and into what Mayor Eric Adams has called overt, unacceptable anti-Semitism.
I thought it was despicable. It was disgusting what we saw. And you cannot call for peace while you're celebrating what happened on October 7th.
And this morning, vandals threw red paint and posted a threatening sign at the home of the director of the Brooklyn Museum, who is Jewish. On the door, they painted an inverted red triangle, a symbol used by Hamas.
Aaron Katersky joins us now. Aaron, do police think that this was an isolated incident?
It's probably not, Lindsay. In fact, police say the vandalism in Brooklyn may have been the work of the same people who splashed red paint on the street outside a Palestinian Authority office here in Manhattan and scattered leaflets that called for more violence against Israel. They're looking for as many as 15 people who came out of the back of a U-Haul truck on the east side of Manhattan, Lindsay.
Aaron Katersky for us. Thanks so much, Aaron. The ACLU and Texas Civil Rights Project have filed a lawsuit challenging President Biden's executive order that limits access to asylum. The president's June 4th order bans asylum access for migrants in between ports of entry when migrant encounters at the border reach a 7-day average of 2,500 or more. The ACLU says the executive order will not deter desperate migrants searching for protection in the United States and will put their lives at risk. The Federal Reserve announced today that it will hold benchmark interest rates steady at what is a 23-year high. That's as new data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics show the consumer price index was flat in May, a sign inflation may be cooling, though it's still up more than 3% since last year. From April to May, prices increased in categories like hospital services, rent, and dining out. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says interest rates won't come down until stubborn inflation gets closer to 2%. Now to new reporting from inside a deadly bus hijacking in Atlanta. We're learning more about the man who was killed and what happened on that bus. ABC's Faith Abube reports in from Atlanta tonight.
New details on what led to a wild police chase in downtown Atlanta during rush hour Tuesday.
I think there's someone taking the bus hostage.
Investigators say 39-year-old suspect Joseph Greer, with 19 prior arrests, was in a fight with another passenger. The passenger pulled out a gun, and that's when they say Greer grabbed the weapon, shot him, and then took the bus full of commuters hostage.
APD is working a possible hijack Gwinnett County bus. Someone has the driver hostage, possibly will not let them stop the bus.
Watch as the bus, displaying emergency on the digital screen, zigzags through traffic, sideswiping cars as it maneuvers around other drivers. Just moments before the deadly bus chase, someone who appears to be Greer caught on camera at the scene of another deadly shooting downtown, just blocks away.
Crazy. And then the cop talked to him and he ran. That's when the whole
The convicted felon telling news media he's bipolar and has been without his medication. The victim, 58-year-old Ernest Bird, died at the hospital. His family saying he survived by 7 children and 7 grandchildren. Paulette Gilbert was also on that bus.
We're very shaken, and it was a really traumatic thing.
Talking to ABC affiliate WSB at the scene.
It's tough. Like, we can't go into details what happened, but it was true. It was something that we'll never forget.
Faith Abube joins us now from Atlanta. Faith, explain why Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis is saying that her office can't prosecute this case.
Well, Lindsay, Greer is behind bars tonight, facing more than a dozen charges. But the DA's office is asking for another prosecutor to step in because one of their employees was a victim and witness in this incident. Lindsay.
Faith Abube for us. Thanks so much, Faith. Tonight, Russian warships are roughly 100 miles from Florida. Is there anything to be concerned about? Our chief global affairs anchor Martha Raddatz has the details.
Tonight, a brazen display of Russian military force just over 100 miles from Florida's coast. Russia's longtime ally, Cuba, welcoming 4 Russian warships, including a nuclear-powered submarine with a 21-cannon salute. As Russian military drills begin in the Caribbean nation for the first time in 16 years. The Russians say the ships have already conducted drills in the Atlantic, simulating long-range missile strikes aimed at targets more than 300 miles away. Although Russian ships routinely dock in Havana, this military exercise is a clear provocation that the Pentagon is seeking to downplay.
We, of course, take it seriously, but these exercises don't pose a threat to the United States.
The exercises come as the Biden administration dramatically widens sanctions on Moscow, and they follow Vladimir Putin's threats in response to the U.S. giving permission to Ukraine to use U.S.-supplied weapons to hit Russian targets near Ukraine's border. Lindsay, the U.S. Navy and Canadian Navy have been tracking the Russians' movement with their own warships. Tonight, a U.S. official saying the Russian ships will probably remain near Cuba for several days before making their way to Venezuela. Lindsay?
A bit disconcerting for many. Martha, thank you. Voters in North Dakota approved a ballot measure that sets an age limit on their congressional representatives. The measure amends the state constitution to prohibit candidates 81 or older from running for office. This change comes as many are considering whether a candidate's advanced age could impact their ability to govern. The U.S. Constitution establishes age minimums, but this is the first state to impose an age limit. It's likely to be challenged in court. In 1995, the Supreme Court ruled that states cannot declare restrictions outside the Constitution. He was a true basketball icon known as Mr. Clutch. And tonight, sports fans are remembering the life of Hall of Famer Jerry West, a college basketball star, Olympic champion, and NBA great. Here's ABC's Will Reeve with more on West's legacy.
Jerry West defined American basketball for more than 60 years.
3, 2 points.
A literal icon. His silhouette became the inspiration for the NBA's logo.
The symbol, baby, the symbol. That's what type of impact Jerry West had.
West excelled at every level. A college star at West Virginia, an Olympic gold medal winner, and an all-star in each of his 14 seasons with the LA Lakers, reaching the NBA Finals 9 times, winning just once. In 1969,
West out for a 20-footer. It's good.
West named the first ever Finals MVP.
Mr. Clutch got it back.
To this day, the only player to win the award from the losing team. A Hall of Fame player, Jerry West went on to coach, then became an executive, building the 1980s Showtime Lakers, starring Magic Johnson, into a dynasty. Later, West bringing in Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and coach Phil Jackson to return the Lakers to glory. Jerry West died today at 86. From his roots in coal country to the pinnacle of the NBA, he was grateful for the journey.
I was a dreamer. My family didn't have much, but we have a clear view of the Appalachian Mountains. I'd sit alone on our front porch and wonder, if I ever make it to the top of that mountain, what will I see on the other side? Well, I did make it to the other side, and my dreams have come true. I've been able to see the sides thanks to that bouncing ball.
Clearly, he did make it to the pinnacle there. Thanks to Will Reeve for that. Still much more to get to here on Prime tonight. A legal blow for a transgender swimmer with their eyes set on the Olympic Games. But next, from claims of filthy units to months without a match, a housing crisis is bubbling up in Maui as wildfire victims desperately seek long-term shelter. Tonight, we are looking into accusations of wrongful evictions, raised rents, and more.
The second unit was horrifying, with rat-infested, blood and urine on mattresses, incredibly dirty. That was a super simple. I didn't have to say no to that one because the FEMA agents that were there, they were horrified as well.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
I experienced a lot of rejection, a lot of heartache.
I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy. I have my days where you gotta do whatever you can to crawl out of those dark holes. You're gonna feel lonely. There was a lot of personal stuff in my life that was really falling apart. It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment. I feel like every pair of bell bottoms all come with a different story. 19 years old, pulling up to Nashville, I was terrified.
Not everybody makes it.
I was a fish out of water. At times, I was too country for country.
You were living in a trailer for a while.
I remember sitting out in this camper trailer, crying my eyes out, thinking, is it ever gonna happen? But Mom and Daddy didn't raise no quitter. I have had the hardest 2 months of my life. My daddy has not been doing well. We've been through a lot these past few years, and it kind of makes me emotional. Y'all gonna see me cry again. I was scrolling on TikTok. I noticed a few videos of my butt that had gone viral. At first, I was laughing, and I'm like, these people ain't right. No matter what size you are beautiful.
Being a woman in country music can be tough.
And the CMA Award for Album of the Year for Female Vocalist of the Year.
Entertainer of the Year
goes to Lainey
Wilson.
That was a mic drop.
The Entertainer of the Year, baby.
Lainey's album, Bell Bottom Country, changed the game.
There ain't nothing better than this. Hold my beer, watch this.
What she is doing right now is changing country music.
I do see the bell bottoms and the hat as my superhero outfit.
Go, Lainey!
It's mind-blowing. It's magic. I'm proud of myself. I really am. I have worked my ass off. Now it's time to see what's next. That's what I'm talking about! Woo!
All right, let the dogs out, please.
I don't think he's gonna give you a hard time.
Even if he gives me a hard time, I'm the right guy. I want to make sure that we all learn together.
Calm, confident.
Calm, confident, calm, surrender.
Everything that he's taught has become a reality.
We are so grateful and impressed.
I feel like crying.
You changed our world.
It is a beautiful thing to see. As you rehabilitate the dog, you also rehabilitate you.
Welcome back, everyone. In the months after wildfires ravaged parts of Maui, a burgeoning crisis began to appear. The desperate search for clean, safe, and dependable housing for those who were displaced. But it has not been an easy process. Hundreds of complaints have been lodged. In our latest edition of Maui 808, our Maria Villarreal looks into accusations of wrongful evictions, raised rents, and more, as so many still look to FEMA for help finding a long-term place to live.
This is Charles Nahali's fifth move since being displaced by the Lahaina fire last August.
Eliminate all short-term rentals. Eliminate all of that.
We first met him back in September during a community meeting, and more than 8 months later, he's still fighting.
It's unsettling. It really is. It's still living a bit of the trauma to this day.
Charles is one of more than 1,300 fire victims enrolled in FEMA's Direct Lease program, which converts short-term rental units into long-term housing for fire survivors for up to 2 years. So far, FEMA awarding contracts worth more than $197 million to 3 companies in states outside of Hawaii to administer the program. They find, lease, and manage ready-to-occupy properties from owners and then sublease them to displaced residents. As of early June, 1,041 units are occupied by fire survivors, but 177 units remain unoccupied while FEMA pays property owners and the management companies thousands of dollars a month per property.
They have to do a background check. I was told that it would take no more than 3 weeks to do. It took 3 months. They were paying for the unit, which was 3 months, and over $5,000 a month, and the hotel I was in. No matter what I do, it just won't stop running.
When he saw that first property, he was heartbroken.
And the contract reflected something completely different from what the actual space of the unit was. For example, the space was a studio. The contract says it's a one-bedroom and newly remodeled, which it wasn't. The bed was practically in the kitchen. Talk about breakfast in bed. So these two representatives and FEMA, they seem to put the fear of God in us that if you don't take this property, you're going to be kicked out most likely, and you'll be on your own.
Charles was rematched to another property. His second, not any better than his first.
We're sitting at this table, two with FEMA representatives going over the contract. So three of us are sitting at this table. While we're sitting here, this piece of granite, this is stone, falls and breaks into two pieces. You can see the crack.
Rather than move again, FEMA assured Charles they'd make the necessary repairs.
All of these things were corroded, so you couldn't even open it up to get air inside. Look at that. It cracks because it's all termite eaten there. And you can see the termite droppings on the inside.
The management company fixing some of the issues, but not all. After our interview, Charles had to vacate his hotel shelter with a day's notice. The Red Cross stepping in to pay for the outstanding repairs on his FEMA unit, making it ready for Charles to move in. Timothy Putnam, known as Timster on the island, had to leave Lahaina to find housing.
So my direct lease effort didn't start till mid-February, and it was panic time. So it was like not looking good for me. I emailed Governor Green, and with his help and his people's help, maybe by the grace of God also, I got into the program March 6th.
So far, he's been matched 4 times to 4 different units.
The first unit was a cute little unit, but it didn't come up to code electrically. The second unit was horrifying, with rat-infested, blood and urine on mattresses, incredibly dirty. That was a super simple. I didn't have to say no to that one because the FEMA agents that were there, they were horrified as well.
He says he apprehensively took the 3rd placement in Kihei, an hour-and-a-half commute to work.
I was instructed that I should clean it myself. And I should probably take it because I probably wouldn't find anything better. That was odd. So I was pressured.
Now he's battling rodents and insects, receiving word last week from FEMA they'd be relocating him again closer to work. FEMA telling ABC all units require an inspection and we make sure the house is safe, livable, sanitary, and functional before anyone moves in. Still, he questions how sustainable living on Maui truly is and worries he'll have to move off island eventually.
Oh, it'll kill me. It'll be tough.
FEMA leaders admit they've had issues matching their inventory to family needs, like proximity to school and work, number of bedrooms, or accessibility.
So there are some circumstances where people have rejected the offer 3, 4, 5, even 6 times to go into housing. And that's a challenge, not because I don't understand. I do understand how difficult it is to have to commute at all. But many of these units, they simply have to be occupied.
Then, in late May, another development. Several property owners with FEMA contracts telling ABC News their rental agreements were suddenly terminated by the property management company working with FEMA because the unit had remained unmatched to an applicant. ABC News reached out to FEMA, but they declined an on-camera interview and could not confirm how many leases were ended. They did point out more than 1,000 people have been placed under the program, and 177 units are empty, ready for move-in. And 35 families continue to search for a match, they say. Still, residents say the community and local realtors have felt left out of the process. Narabun co-founded Maui Housing Hui, a nonprofit that educates the community on their rights.
This problem is probably the biggest issue that Maui has faced in decades, possibly. It comes down to the fabric of our community being shredded and changing every facet of it because people cannot afford to live here.
Her organization hearing from people not displaced by the fire, yet finding themselves homeless in its aftermath as some landlords take advantage of the housing crisis.
Landlords that want to take advantage of this federal money and raise their rents are just either going radio silent or refusing to renew people's leases.
The Hawaii Attorney General's office confirming to ABC News they've received at least 227 complaints regarding these housing issues, 198 for violation of the emergency proclamation, like raising the rent, and 29 for wrongful evictions. 28 violations were corrected and 37 investigations remain ongoing. FEMA also telling ABC News, our policy is clear. If we discover a landlord has inappropriately evicted a tenant in good standing so they may pursue a lease from FEMA, we will not work with that landlord.
With FEMA's payments of the rents, proposed payments of rents, in general throughout Maui County, our rents have doubled and sometimes tripled.
Governor Green stepping in.
Aloha.
Issuing a new emergency proclamation with added protections for tenants against landlords who attempt to raise rent or evict tenants.
It seems like the governor is listening, but we need him to close the other loophole. The biggest loophole is this termination of leases. That's the only way really to stop this bleeding that's happening.
The governor also announced plans to build temporary housing in Lahaina that is expected to be ready this year. Timster says he's grateful to FEMA that he has a roof over his head, no matter its flaws.
I guarantee they're doing as best they can. But a wise man once said the 10 most feared words in the English language are, I'm here from the government, I'm here to help.
But not everyone is as hopeful.
FEMA help ends in February of 2025, and they have us in places where the rents are so high. Every day it's getting a little closer, and you get into knots and wondering, how am I going to survive? What's going to happen now?
A number of unanswered questions at this point. Our thanks to Maria for that. Still much more to get to tonight on Prime. Coming up, a long fight for justice ended by the Oklahoma Supreme Court. The ruling for the last two known survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. But next, it's been a season to remember for the WNBA. The viewership highs and attendance records already set for the league this year. When we take a look by the numbers.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions.
Operational nuclear reactor.
So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work. Hi. Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you. David, good to meet you.
Ismail? David.
David. Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
I watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Target!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Are you ready
ready to celebrate? Sunday, June 30th, across the country. See, experience some of the nation's greatest pride celebrations all in one place as they happen live right here on ABC News Live. Pride across America. Celebrate joy, love, freedom, and pride. Sunday, June 30th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Streaming on ABC News Live and stream on Hulu.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning. To catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
Here's to Good Mornings in America.
Can you feel the love? Oh, yeah.
Mornings that inspire, filled with hope, kindness, joyous surprises, and so much fun.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Start your day with Good Morning America's ray of sunshine, highlighting the best of America and helping
make dreams come true.
Wow.
I'm just so happy. It's so good.
Get ready to smile and put the good into your morning, America, because
you know what will make the morning better? A little ray of sunshine.
Reporting from the Normandy coast for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. The WNBA season is barely a month old, but the Women's League is already smashing viewership and attendance records. And why not? Stars like A'ja Wilson, Aaliyah Boston, and of course, Caitlin Clark and their teammates play a game that's as competitive as their male counterparts. The WNBA's unprecedented growth is this evening's By the Numbers. By the end of May, more than half of all WNBA games were already sold out. Attendance has jumped 17% from last season, with arenas filling to 94% capacity on average. Even more shocking is the number of people now watching at home. Average viewership on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, and CBS has tripled this year over last. That's 1.3 million people watching per game. And the league has made huge strides attracting the attention of Black and Hispanic viewers. Hispanic viewership is up 96%, and Black viewership is up 67% year over year, according to the WNBA. Merchandise sales are also up. How about 236% over last year? Stores are having trouble keeping Caitlin Clark's jersey in stock, and jerseys for stars like Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, and Kate Martin are also flying off the shelves. And the WNBA's app is finally catching fire. Monthly active users have increased 6-fold this season. The season's top teams so far, the Connecticut Sun in the Eastern Conference at 10-1, and the Minnesota Lynx surprising many, leading the Western Conference at 9-3. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime tonight. It is the intersection of representation and policy. Our Zareen Shah sat down with 3 Indian American members of Congress to discuss how they're fighting for the fastest growing racial group in the U.S. Plus, don't let your emotions get the best of you. Tony Hale joins us in studio to talk about his role as Fear in Inside Out 2 and how he tapped into the complex feelings of a teenage girl.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who is in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello? Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because you called me. It was time that we clear the air on a couple things.
I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades.
What a disaster.
If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said,
the movie!
Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah.
Why did we take it as an offense?
Well,
As opposed to
call
like
a brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
Crush on you back in the day?
You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985. I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
When it matters most, America turns to David Muir and ABC's World News Tonight. Now streaming on Hulu.
I'm a rock and roll star. I'm not a saint. I'm John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi. The new special, What You Have Not Yet Seen. John Bon Jovi with Michael Strahan. Now streaming on Hulu. Good Morning America Monday. Kickstart your week with Creed. Creed performing live for you this Monday on tour on GMA. Sponsored by Live Nation.
The legal blow for a transgender swimmer with Olympic hopes. The Oklahoma Supreme Court's decision to dismiss a Tulsa race massacre lawsuit, part of a long quest for justice, and tryouts for one of the most coveted male jobs, and it's on the water. These stories and much more in tonight's Rundown.
Transgender athlete Leah Thomas will not be able to compete in this summer's Paris Olympics after a 3-judge panel ruled against her challenge of rules that barred her from competing. The judges ruled she did not have standing to bring the case and dismissed Thomas's request for arbitration with the World Aquatics governing body. World Aquatics banned transgender women who have been through male puberty from competing in women's races, and Thomas was asking the organization to overturn the rules she claimed were against the law and discriminatory. Oklahoma's 9-member Supreme Court upholding a lower court decision in Tulsa last year, ruling the federal government should not be held financially liable for the 1921 Tulsa race massacre. The incident is considered one of the worst single acts of violence against black people in U.S. history. A white mob destroying the once thriving black district in the city known as Greenwood. 2 survivors of the massacre filed a lawsuit to force reparations, but the state Supreme Court ruling says while the plaintiffs' grievances are legitimate, they do not fall within the scope of the state's public nuisance statute. Demolition begins tomorrow on Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. The 3-story building was sealed off after the deadly school shooting in 2018 that killed 17 students and reignited the conversation about how to prevent school shootings. Crews are working piece by piece to dismantle the structure, which some students say served as a horrific reminder of the tragedy that unfolded on campus over 6 years ago. Officials in Rhode Island released dash cam footage of a deer jumping through a bus windshield. The Warwick Police Department said 6 passengers were on the bus at the time. 2 had minor injuries due to broken glass and were taken to the hospital. The Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management said the deer was dead when an officer arrived at the scene. A 12-week-old puppy was rescued by sheriff's deputies in Colorado after falling through an air vent. The 5-pound puppy named Archie jumped off a child's bed and landed straight into an open-air vent in the child's third-floor bedroom. After 3.5 hours of cutting holes in the ceiling and after putting cameras and pipes, fire officials located the puppy in an air duct pipe in the basement. Archie had landed there all the way from the third-floor vent and was in good spirits. Tryouts began in Wisconsin for a coveted job on Lake Geneva. The tryouts asked candidates to leap from a moving boat onto piers to deliver the mail to mailboxes and then jump back on that boat. The boat travels at 5 miles per hour, and there are 10 candidates competing for 4 jobs this year.
It's super fun just to try out, even if you don't get the position. It's a super fun experience.
Indian Americans are the fastest growing racial group in the U.S., and their rapid growth can be tracked back to the 1960s when a change in immigration policy led to a migration boom of Indian workers. ABC's Zareen Shah sat down with 3 Indian members of Congress to discuss the impact of their representation and policies that both unite as well as divide them.
Let's rewind a bit. 1960, there were 12,000 Indian immigrants in this country. Now there's 5 million. You have a half Indian vice president, 5 Indian American members of Congress. There's a lot of people who are watching your growth and wondering how this happened.
Well, I think it's the natural journey of immigrant groups to this country. I think first they establish their financial security, then they help their local not-for-profits, their mandirs, their mosques, and they help, other people in need, just like themselves, and then they, I think, get involved in the civic affairs of the country.
At one point, I felt that I achieved my American dream, but I want to go help others achieve their American dream, especially living in Detroit, seeing how American dream is not accessible to many people. Opportunities are just not there. I said the best way for me to help would be to be in public service.
We have seen a surge in undocumented Indian immigrants, different from how you guys came here, grown 70% in the last 15 years or so. Why do you think that surge is happening right now?
Well, our legal immigration system is totally messed up, that it makes people desperate. I mean, the legal immigration issue and the undocumented immigration issue are connected to each other. It doesn't necessarily justify people coming in illegally, but it helps to explain that when, for instance, someone coming from India today, applying for an H-1B visa and receiving one, it would take them 100 years. I'm not making that number up. 100 years to matriculate into a green card.
We're here at the IA Impact Summit. This is a big conference for Indian Americans. It happens every year. Why is this so important? And why do you think it's so important this year in particular?
I mean, I think it's really important because we've got a real opportunity to increase our numbers for Indian Americans.
Potentially double is what I'm hearing.
Potentially double here in Congress. And I think that when you have that representation, several things happen. You change the way other people see their opportunities. You really engage people to vote more in our democracy. You get better policy.
Even the population of Indian Americans, I feel that 5 members is not sufficient representation, and we need to strive for more. Indian Americans have done so well economically in every other field, but we haven't built that political muscle, and we need to build that.
Let's talk about TikTok really quick. Is there going to be someone here in this country who buys TikTok? At this moment in time, does it look like there will be?
Yes. I have not yet met a single person who wants their TikTok controlled by the Chinese Communist Party versus a TikTok that's not. And that's the aim of this bill. It's not a ban. It's meant
But if it's not sold in 12 months, within 12 months, it will be banned, right?
It won't be available until it gets sold.
How big of a concern? Do you think it can be found before November?
I mean, I think that there's a very small number of people that could take it over, and frankly, some of those people, I would have just as many concerns in terms of controlling the content on TikTok as I do of the Chinese government. And so I think that there is a bigger concern here around how we address all of our social media platforms and communication on social media platforms. And I do think it may have a negative impact on the election, but I don't think it's going to be the determinative impact. I mean, I think there are lots of things out there that young people care about. That may be one of them.
Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, Bobby Jindal, Kamala Harris have all received a lot of criticism at many different times for not being Indian American enough.
Look, I don't fault anybody for being who they are, but don't change who you are to try to fit some kind of conventional notion of what a presidential candidate should be or who the American people will embrace, because it turns out the American people are very sophisticated and savvy.
You talk about looking at the world, you talk about your parents still being in India.
Yeah.
Are you concerned right now about American-Indian relationships?
Yeah, I have been concerned, and I've spoken out about this, and, you know, I've been criticized by Indian Americans. This is one of the ways that I'm told that I'm not Indian enough. Even though I have family that lives there, I've lived in villages all over India. I do believe that religious freedom, freedom of communication, freedom of the press is really, really important to me, and it's one of the dear values that I treasure of Indian democracy, and I have been concerned about some of what I've seen happening, particularly the anti-Muslim sentiment in India and the way in which the press has been cracked down on by this prime minister, and the reports about extrajudicial killings and attempted assassinations right here in this country, which I know the DOJ is investigating right now. At the same time, I see the value of India, the tremendous opportunity that India as a country has to really power the world for better.
Quick rapid fire. Favorite Indian food or snack that you know you should stay away from, but you can't?
Pakora.
Naan.
Samosas?
Samosa, naans.
I'm Puran Poli.
Who should play you in a biopic? Bollywood star or Hollywood Indian?
Shah Rukh Khan.
How did I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. Say
Salman Khan.
Number of years before we have an Indian American president?
Anytime now.
Soon.
Our thanks to Zoreen for that. Do our emotions like fear, anxiety, and embarrassment block emotions like joy, anger, and sadness? All of that and more is explored in the movie Inside Out 2, premiering 9 years after the original Pixar animation film. The sequel follows emotions that come to life as they navigate how to guide Riley, a teenage girl who's just entering that fun stage of puberty. Let's take a look.
What is that? That's a sarcasm! It can open for miles! Run for your lives!
Sarcasm? Really?
Okay, Joy, if we can't follow the stream, we don't know where we're going. And if we don't know where we're going, we can't follow the stream. It is an endless loop of tragedy and consequence.
Or we could just ask those guys.
Oh, yeah, or that.
Playing Fear himself as the Emmy Award-winning actor known for his roles in Arrested Development and Veep. Tony Hale, thank you so much for joining us, coming back.
It's always nice to be back.
So we had Louis Black on, who played Anger first, right?
Yes.
And so I'm curious, because he did a good job of talking about anger that he lives every day. I'm curious, did you have any fear at all stepping into this role?
Well, I'm a huge fan of the first one, and I had a lot of reverence for it. So just stepping into that, I mean, it's such a powerful message of kind of, you know, having more compassion to your emotions, not trying to push them away. And so I was just really wanting to do a good job. But I came in and I said, hey, what's the difference between fear, because there's a new character, anxiety. What's the difference? And they said fear is a reaction to an actual threat, and anxiety is a perceived threat.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that makes sense for me.
That's a good distinction for all of us.
I know.
There really is a difference.
Yes, and anxiety kind of, who's played by Maya Hawke, she kind of creates scenarios of like, what if this happens? She like escape plans. Whereas fear, like in there, that sarcasm, that's an actual threat. The ground just opened up, so he would freak out.
Now, people know you for your roles, as we just said there, Arrested Development, Veep. How different is it to actually go into a studio and play a role that you're not actually on screen for?
Yeah, it's at first it was a little intimidating, because as a comic actor you use a lot of your physicality, and I just had the microphone, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the same performance that I would do in front of the camera, in front of the microphone, and then hopefully that energy would be conveyed. But on Veep, for instance, I wasn't even allowed to speak. You know, I mean, I just kind of stood behind her. It was just, I could only emote. So, I mean, I couldn't even really use anything. So like this, I just had a microphone, which was...
But how does it work? Because you do have the scenes where the different emotions are kind of working together, like anxiety and fear at the same time. So are you all in the same room?
No, we just met on this press meeting.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, all the press tours. So, like, I had not met Lewis, who plays Anger. And so we all met each other. And because the director, Kelsey Mann, he's the one who gives us the lines of all the different characters. So he's playing all the different rules. And we're just reacting off him. And then they magically put it all together.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And kind of surprising that they don't have you together, but what do I know? So curious, if this movie had come out when you were a child, what would have been maybe one of the more dominant emotions going on?
Oh, man. All the above. You even saying that if it had come out of my child, I think it would be such a gift. Because when I was a kid, we didn't even have language for anxiety. It was just kind of, there just felt like this like circus in my head of envy and all these things. And to have this movie just for kids to feel seen, but also parents and adults of anything, it's like, yeah, you know, like my daughter is 18 and there's a character on here called Ennui that she's really bored and she's French and she's, you know, and it's like, it's a part of the process. You know, as a parent, I wish maybe if I'd seen this, I maybe wouldn't have been like, get off the couch, let's do something. You know, it's a part of that teenage path. You know?
I think it's so interesting also that anxiety was a new ad.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like kids these days, I mean, it's probably something that we always had, but maybe didn't label, but it is something for sure that we talk about. But it feels like this storyline never goes out of style.
Never goes out of style. And especially like, I mean, again, just that kind of scenario building where it's me as a teenager, it's like, why did that person say this? Does that mean this? Is that going to lead to this? And you just create these whole narratives that, you know, typically never happen. But in my mind, it's definitely happening.
Thank you so much for doing this and coming by our show to talk about it.
So fun.
Tony, we so appreciate you coming by. I want to let our viewers know that you can watch Inside Out 2 in theaters June 14th. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, the latest violence and destruction in Ukraine as world leaders gather for the G7 summit. Plus, long COVID's long-lasting effects in communities of color, the challenges many are facing to get help or even a diagnosis.
A beauty queen killer. He's targeting young women in malls, posing as a photographer. Police believe he will strike again.
I am single. I am still keen in life. I want to enjoy the company of a number of women.
A string of abductions and murders.
One of the most wanted fugitives for the FBI.
Across the country, young women disappeared.
He controlled me. He tortured me.
How are you feeling? Do you remember what happened? One day at the mall,
I noticed this man standing around with a camera watching me. Handsome, charismatic, very persuasive. He approached me. He claimed that he could make me a model. This is the one point that I regret every second of my life. Boom, 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 boom.
it just changed like that.
He had his .45 pointed at me, and I never made it home.
I'm nervous for my family, nervous for every girl. I'm nervous for you.
I got my eyes taped shut. He started electrocuting me. You have to obey.
The word accomplice came up.
They insisted that Tina was involved. Was she complicit, or was she a victim of it? It's very strange behavior.
I have never heard a story of a serial killer letting someone go. I'm wondering if you ever think, why?
Whether you believe me or not, it's my truth. Nobody knows the real story. I felt like there was no way you can escape. What do you do? How do you get out of it? What would you do?
The Beauty Queen Killer, 9 Days of Terror. Streaming only on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news, ABC News Live. Breaking news, exclusives, live reporting across the globe. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
Every Friday. The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. It's time to buy the right stuff.
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA.
You're gonna love it.
How do you feel? Gay as hell.
I love it here.
Is this real?
100%.
I think you still look at me that way.
Were you mad at me? I want pageantry that takes months and months to plan.
My girls have arrived!
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, but we begin with that major flood threat in Florida, up to a foot of rain in some places in just the last few days. The governor now declaring a state of emergency there. Take a look at the treacherous drive on I-95 near Miami. Visibility there near zero. The flash flooding forced part of it to close down entirely near the Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood airport. And tonight, Sarasota is under watch after 4 inches of rain fell in an hour. All this rain and wind delayed or canceled roughly 1,000 flights at airports across southern Florida. Is there any end in sight? Victor Kendo leads us off tonight from Miami.
Tonight, sheets of torrential rain, flooding roads, stranding vehicles, inundating the Sunshine State. A flash flood emergency north of Miami. The National Weather Service warning of life-threatening conditions, 4 to 6 inches of rain in an hour in spots.
It's all just lining up like train on a tracks, going over the same areas over and over again.
Part of Interstate 95, that major north-south artery, shut down due to flooding. Crews using vacuum trucks, racing to clear debris from storm drains across the area. Driving simply treacherous.
Could not see behind me or in front of me, so we need to drive very slow.
Air travel snarled. More than 1,000 flights delayed or canceled entirely at South Florida airports. The system fueled by tropical moisture, even spawning a tornado warning in Martin County. High winds taking out huge trees. It's been pouring all over the state for days. This fire truck barely making it down the street in Sarasota after nearly 8 inches fell there, nearly 4 coming in just 1 hour. Experts say our changing climate is causing rainfall events like these to become more frequent and more intense.
Same areas just keep getting pounded. Victor Kendo joins us now. And Victor, it seems like this threat is just going to continue.
Lindsay, we're near downtown Miami where the water just keeps on rising. In this spot, it's almost up to my knees, but it only gets worse further down the street. You see all those cars, they're flooded, that school bus as well. And as you just said, this is not over yet. All of South Florida is under a flood watch through at least tomorrow. Up to 10 inches of additional rain possible through Saturday. And we're also tracking the heat that's building in the east. Mid to upper 90s from the southeast to the mid-Atlantic by Friday. Now, just north of us in Fort Lauderdale, they have declared a state of emergency. Lindsay, when all is said and done here, some areas could see up to 20 inches of rain. Lindsay?
Wow. Oh, just phenomenal. All right, Victor Kendo, our thanks to you. 2 American tourists were electrocuted while in a jacuzzi at a resort in Mexico. Despite desperate attempts to administer medical aid, one of them died. Matt Gutman has more.
Tonight, this dramatic video showing the moments 2 Americans are believed to have been electrocuted in a hot tub at a Mexico resort. Bystanders screaming for help as one person is seen pulled to safety. Amidst the chaos on that pool deck, you can see someone else administering CPR. The Sonora Attorney General says it's investigating the incident, stating 43-year-old Jorge was killed and 35-year-old Lizette injured. As per policy, they used only the victims' first names. Sources telling ABC News they were a couple from El Paso, Texas. A tragic incident unfolding Tuesday evening at the Sonoran Sea Resort near Puerto Peñasco. The Attorney General adding that forensic analysis will be conducted to determine the origin of the electrical failure.
Trying to get to the bottom of that. Our thanks to Matt Gutman. Tonight, a major escalation on Israel's northern border. The Iranian-backed Hezbollah militia launched more than 200 rockets from Lebanon in a matter of hours. And in New York City, police attempting to quell the anti-Semitic scene at a downtown subway station. But first to Israel, Tom Sufi Burridge reports from there tonight.
Tonight, a major escalation on Israel's northern border. Iran-backed Hezbollah militants launching the biggest barrage of rockets since the war in Gaza began. More than 200 rockets fired in a matter of hours. The IDF saying most intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome. Hezbollah retaliating after an Israeli airstrike killed one of its top commanders in southern Lebanon. We're just back from Israel's border with Lebanon, just beyond the hills there, and you can see right across the landscape here, smoke caused by fires when that massive barrage of rockets came in.
Why are they shooting rockets at us?
We met Meron Barakat in Kibbutz Amiad, just miles from Israel's border with Lebanon.
And well, you could just hear the rockets coming in here.
Oh, you feel it. I mean, the whole house shakes.
And with tension simmering, Secretary of State Antony Blinken tonight questioning whether Hamas is negotiating in good faith after it requested numerous changes to the US-backed Gaza ceasefire proposal.
Some of the changes are workable, some are not. It's time for the haggling to stop and the ceasefire to start.
Many people awaiting a deal there. Our thanks to Tom. Here in New York, police are investigating protests calling for violence against Israel. Authorities are describing a chilling anti-Semitic scene on the New York City subway today. Protesters asking, quote, Zionists to raise their hand and get off the train. Authorities say other protesters deface the home of a museum director who is Jewish. Now the city's mayor has a warning about the rising hate. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, this video shows a frightening moment on a New York City subway car when protesters demanded riders raise their hands if they're Zionists.
Raise your hands if you're a Zionist! Raise your hands if you're a Zionist! This is your chance to get out! This is your chance to get out! Okay, no Zionists, we're good.
The train held at Union Square for a police inspection. Officers in riot gear seen on the crowded platform. Protesters clashing with police. They had just come from a rally where the flags of terror groups Hamas and Hezbollah were waved. Another saying, long live October 7th. Protesters breaking through barriers, setting off smoke bombs and flares outside an exhibit remembering the victims of the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. The Monday incident, part of an escalating series of provocations that go beyond protest and into what Mayor Eric Adams has called overt, unacceptable anti-Semitism.
I thought it was despicable. It was disgusting what we saw. And you cannot call for peace while you're celebrating what happened on October 7th.
And this morning, vandals threw red paint and posted a threatening sign at the home of the director of the Brooklyn Museum, who is Jewish. On the door, they painted an inverted red triangle, a symbol used by Hamas.
Our thanks to Aaron Katursky. House Republicans late today voted to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. The vote came along party lines. Garland refused to turn over the audio recordings of President Biden's interview in his classified documents case. The White House says the move was purely political since the complete transcripts were released publicly. After the vote, Speaker Johnson said, quote, we can't allow the Department of Justice and executive branch to hide information from Congress. Now to new reporting from inside a deadly bus hijacking in Atlanta. We're learning more about the man who was killed and what happened on that bus. Faith Abube is in Atlanta tonight.
New details on what led to a wild police chase in downtown Atlanta during rush hour Tuesday.
I think there's someone taking the bus hostage.
Investigators say 39-year-old suspect Joseph Greer, with 19 prior arrests, was in a fight with another passenger. The passenger pulled out a gun, and that's when they say Greer grabbed the weapon, shot him, and then took the bus full of commuters hostage.
APD is working a possible hijack Gwinnett County bus. Someone has the driver hostage, possibly will not let them stop the bus.
Watch as the bus, displaying emergency on the digital screen, zigzags through traffic, sideswiping cars as it maneuvers around other drivers. Just moments before the deadly bus chase, someone who appears to be Greer caught on camera at the scene of another deadly shooting downtown, just blocks away.
Crazy. And then the cop talked to him and he ran. That's when the whole so.
The convicted felon telling news media he's bipolar and has been without his medication. The victim, 58-year-old Ernest Bird, died at the hospital. His family saying he's survived by 7 children and 7 grandchildren. Paulette Gilbert was also on that bus.
We're very shaken, and it was a really traumatic thing.
Talking to ABC affiliate WSB at the scene.
It's tough. Like, we can't go into details what happened, but it was true. It was something that we'll never forget.
Clearly traumatic. Our thanks to Faith for that. About 100 miles from Florida tonight, 4 Russian warships entered Havana Bay, including a nuclear-powered submarine. The U.S. tracking Russia's military drills with Cuba, Russia's first in the region in 16 years. Martha Raddatz with late reporting tonight.
Tonight, a brazen display of Russian military force just over 100 miles from Florida's coast. Russia's longtime ally, Cuba, welcoming 4 Russian warships, including a nuclear-powered submarine with a 21-cannon salute. As Russian military drills begin in the Caribbean nation for the first time in 16 years. The Russians say the ships have already conducted drills in the Atlantic, simulating long-range missile strikes aimed at targets more than 300 miles away. Although Russian ships routinely dock in Havana, this military exercise is a clear provocation that the Pentagon is seeking to downplay.
We, of course, take it seriously, but these exercises don't pose a threat to the United States.
The exercises come as the Biden administration dramatically widens sanctions on Moscow, and they follow Vladimir Putin's threats in response to the U.S. giving permission to Ukraine to use U.S.-supplied weapons to hit Russian targets near Ukraine's border.
Our thanks to Martha Raddatz. He was a true basketball icon known as Mr. Clutch. Tonight, sports fans are remembering the life of Hall of Famer Jerry West, a college basketball star, Olympic champion, and overall NBA great. Here's Will Reeve with more on West's legacy.
Jerry West defined American basketball for more than 60 years.
3, 2 points.
A literal icon. His silhouette became the inspiration for the NBA's logo.
The symbol, baby, the symbol. That's what type of impact Jerry West had.
West excelled at every level. A college star at West Virginia, an Olympic gold medal winner, and an all-star in each of his 14 seasons with the LA Lakers, reaching the NBA Finals 9 times, winning just once. In 1969,
West out for a 20-footer. It's good.
West named the first ever Finals MVP.
Mr. Clutch got it back.
To this day, the only player to win the award from the losing team. A Hall of Fame player, Jerry West went on to coach, then became an executive, building the 1980s Showtime Lakers, starring Magic Johnson, into a dynasty. Later, West bringing in Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Coach Phil Jackson to return the Lakers to glory. Jerry West died today at 86. From his roots in coal country to the pinnacle of the NBA, he was grateful for the journey.
I was a dreamer. My family didn't have much, but we have a clear view of the Appalachian Mountains. I'd sit alone on our front porch and wonder, if I ever make it to the top of that mountain, what will I see on the other side? Well, I did make it to the other side, and my dreams have come true. I've been able to see the sides thanks to that bouncing ball.
Clearly made it to the pinnacle there. Thanks to Will Reeve for that. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill stepped up their shoe game today as the Sneaker Caucus hosted their second annual Sneaker Day on the Hill. The caucus was led by co-chairs Representatives Jared Moskowitz and Lori Chavez-Dreamer, with the mission to foster bipartisan cooperation in Congress. From gold Air Jordans to the classic Air Force One, members of Congress and staffers gathered for photos to celebrate style and comfort at the Capitol. So much more to get to tonight. Coming up, thousands forced to flee a Mexican town as violent gangs cause chaos. Plus, the country allegedly recalling a product because it's too spicy.
Whenever news breaks,
we are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Travel
traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, from southern Israel,
Outside the Gaza Strip,
in Beirut,
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there.
You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
you're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news. What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions.
Operational nuclear reactor.
So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work.
Hi.
Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you, David.
Good to meet you.
Ismail? David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
I'm Matt Rivers, and that is the Panama Canal. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. 8 people were killed and another 21 injured today in a Russian missile strike on southern Ukraine. Ukrainian authorities said the attack damaged a residential building and that 2 children are among the casualties. Meantime, President Biden has landed in Italy for the G7 summit, where he's expected to pledge long-term support to strengthen Ukraine's defenses. In Mexico, 4,000 residents deserted the town of Tila to escape a 3-day siege by violent gangs. Residents told Reuters that masked attackers looted the town's stores, broke into homes, and set cars on fire. Government troops are now patrolling the empty streets, but people say they're still too afraid to return. And Denmark's food agency issued a recall warning for several types of instant ramen produced by a South Korean manufacturer. The Danish Food Administration urged Danes to dispose of or return any hot chicken ramen or stew, not for quality concerns, but because the levels of spice are so high, it could pose a risk of, quote, acute poisoning. The news caused heated debate among lovers of spicy foods. 1 in 14 Americans has had or is still battling long COVID. That's according to a recent government report. But getting a proper diagnosis remains a challenge, particularly for people of color. Our Michael Strahan has this story.
Early in the pandemic, Jasmine Holcomb got a bad case of COVID and wasn't able to breathe on her own.
They told my mom it's time for her to go on the vent, and there weren't any other options at that time.
For 2 months, the 28-year-old from Baltimore lay on a ventilator in a medically induced coma.
One hand on the...
Miraculously, she pulled through.
1, 2, yeah.
Good. But she had to relearn how to walk, how to talk, and how to deal with the chronic condition known as long COVID.
Long COVID is when there are any sort of signs or symptoms or any sort of conditions that start after a COVID-19 infection and then persist onwards.
Long COVID occurs in 10% of all COVID infections, and more than 200 symptoms have been associated with the disorder, from gastrointestinal problems to changes in blood pressure and heart rhythm.
The most severe long COVID patients that I have right now are homebound.
While long COVID can happen to anyone, most diagnoses are in women aged 36 to 50. People in the prime of their lives, like Janine Hayes, a New Yorker diagnosed in 2021 at age 42.
I want people to know that we're not making up our symptoms, that we have real complex issues, and that it is extremely hard if you're African American, because you come in with complicated issues into a healthcare system that is not designed to meet our needs.
Studies show that Black and Hispanic Americans may experience more health problems related to long COVID compared to their white counterparts, but are less likely to be diagnosed and get proper care.
Communities of color and underrepresented communities have difficulties with access to care. They're underinsured, they're uninsured. So that first big barrier of even encountering a physician that suspects long COVID that will refer them doesn't happen.
Medical bias is also an issue. Before her long COVID diagnosis, Janine says she went to an allergist for her hives and said the doctor, who was white, diagnosed her with herpes.
I was like, I just don't think it's anything like that. And she just kind of rushed me out. Like there was just really nothing to it. I can't believe that this appointment we had waited for and the outcome was being dismissed, really not feeling like I was heard in any way at all.
Janine says she ultimately found excellent doctors. Jasmine says she was fortunate to have her mom, a former ICU nurse, advocate for her in the hospital when she couldn't speak for herself.
I was able to have a good advocate on my side for a lot of these things, which in general, most people don't have, let alone people of color.
But hospitals across the country are trying to address issues of bias and access to care for minority populations.
There's a conscious effort from the advocacy groups for long COVID to make those voices heard, which I think it's incredibly important.
Mount Sinai Hospital is addressing this problem by expanding their Center for Post-COVID Care into the hardest hit areas of New York City, East Harlem, and the Bronx.
The reality is that there's a lot of undiagnosed patients out there and so many patients who just don't realize that all of this is happening and linked to their COVID infection and that there's options available to help them feel better.
Good to know about those options. Our thanks to Michael Strahan for that. Still to come, a love of dance intertwined with a nod to culture. Our discussion with the mother-daughter duo behind the beautiful world of Soul Step.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Tag on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer. It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
If you could describe Diddy in one word, what would it be?
Mogul.
Powerful.
Hustler.
Broken. And I feel like that's I feel kind saying that.
Federal investigators raiding 2 homes owned by hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Disturbing video that shows Sean Diddy Combs kicking, shoving, and dragging his ex-girlfriend.
She was scared of him.
I think so.
Were you scared of him?
Yeah. My sense was that everybody around him was afraid of him.
Afraid of Sean Combs.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's explosive.
Diddy's downfall. This is Impact by Nightline.
He definitely reached the mountaintop, and it seems like he's falling from it.
Now streaming on Hulu. You're watching America's #1 streaming news, ABC News Live. Breaking news, exclusives, live reporting across the globe. Keep streaming with ABC News Live. Good Morning America Monday. Kickstart your week with Creed. Performing live for you on tour on GM.
Your daughter duo creating a world for young readers that shares their love for dance. Jewel Parker Rhodes and Kelly McWilliams, the authors of the picture book Soul Step, are shedding light on sisterhood, step, and dance within African-American culture. Jewel and Kelly are kind enough to join us now in studio. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
So what was the inspiration behind this book?
Well, I love dance and I love percussion and drums and the beats and the idea that you can use your body to make a joyful noise. So I had the idea, but then when I started writing it, I couldn't catch the rhythm with the language. And Kelly had a toddler, and so I said, Kelly, help, please, and she did.
Yes, we were reading picture books all day long, and it was much easier to catch that rhythm. This was also the summer of 2020.
Okay.
So it was a time when we were very much
much in deep mourning, and to write something about us that brought joy, that brought song, that reminded us of our greatest celebrations, which have always come through percussion and through dance and through music, was a tonic, I think, for both of us.
Absolutely. It was really very sad, you know, during the murder of George Floyd and the fight for equal rights, and the sense that in terms of civil rights, we were going backwards rather than forward. And one of the things about step, about drumming, it has a through line through our entire culture, from when the Africans came to America and they used drums to communicate. And then when they were forbidden the drums, they started using their bodies as a way to signal, this is how we go north. This is how we keep our spirit whole. This is how we keep our joy. And then to see the sororities and the fraternities turn it into really a moment of sisterhood, brotherhood, activism. So it's sort of like a reminder of the resilience and the glory of our people, even in hard times.
Such creative ways to find that percussive beat, even without the drums, as you described. So you all had both written books before, separately. What was it like to work together, mom and daughter?
The neat thing is that in writing the book together, I learned from Kelly things about her childhood that I didn't know. The moments that they had experienced where there had been aggressions or microaggressions, and how together we all battled to stay together as a family and to be in love with each other as a family, even though society at various times was pulling us apart in different ways. And I think that that's also about Soul Step, in that sense that, you know, really love and family is about community connections. So you can have Miss May, you can have a teacher preacher, you can have the sorority sister, and you can have mama and daughter stick together with love.
And the little girl in this book, she's watching her mother. How does she keep her head high? And her mother, after a hard day, she'll come home and she'll step. But some of us, we go to church. And some of us, we sing. We told stories.
Yes.
You know, we would sit down and read books and tell stories, and that's what we did. But we wanted to celebrate that all of us have a sort of soul tie to the diaspora in some way or another. And it's not only what keeps us our heads above water, but it's also what keeps us a community.
The illustrations are lovely. Was it from the beginning you knew this has to be a picture book?
Yes, I always wanted to write a picture book, and then discovered, whoa, I need my daughter's help. But we were really just so gifted with Brianna's talent, Brianna Uchendo, who did the pictures. And from the first sketch, we knew this is our illustrator. It's so alive. And also, I love how rhythm is so important to the story. And we have meetings with children where we talk about the book and we go stomp, clap, flip, flap, go hard, snap, back. And kids in the classroom will stand up and they'll do it, their little steps with us. And we purposely made the steps simple enough so that even a kindergartner can get up and do the moves, as well as the 5th and 6th graders. But it also shows you that whether you're black, white, mixed race, Hispanic, whatever, that rhythm holds humanity together. And it was just a joy to see and be a part of.
Thank you all so much. Your excitement and enthusiasm is just so contagious. What a gift that you have created for us all, Jewel and Kelly. And we want to let our viewers know Soul Step is now available wherever books are sold. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and, of course, on abcnews.com. The news never stops. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.
Are you ready to celebrate? Sunday.